Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I want to talk about another Wicked Flick favorite of mine. That is the Jon Favreau directed, based on the book by Chris Van Allsburg, Zathura. Now, if you've ever seen Jumanji, Jumanji was another book written by Chris Van Allsburg, and this is very much in a similar vein. It's very much about a game come to life. Although, whereas Jumanji is much more, traveling and traversing the jungles and, sort of African animal culture and everything like that. Very much an enjoyable story, to be sure, starring Robin Williams, the film in any case. This movie was always more up my alley, I think, in that it's more space faring, sci-fi fantasy stuff, robots, aliens, that kind of stuff, an astronaut. And I've always liked this movie a bit more than Jumanji, and I highly recommend it, of course. Basically telling the story of these two brothers who are very much vying for the attentions of their father. We find out that their parents are separated, and their fathers, got this sort of job doing, creating artworks for pre-production of vehicles and stuff like that. They create the paintings and stuff, what the car's supposed to look like, and then based on that, they approve it, or are they going to make it or not, and that kind of stuff. And so he's got to go away to work while his children are going to be getting ready to spend the weekend with their mother. And the two brothers are very argumentative with each other. These are portrayed by Josh Hutcherson and Jonah Bobo, respectively. And, they get to the point where they're screaming at each other sometimes, where you're almost rooting for the bad robot or the aliens to come and destroy them. But, what's interesting about their relationship is the crux of the film has to do with their relationship and a learning curve between both of these brothers as the younger brother stumbles across the game Zathura and activates it, and all hell just breaks loose, for the very first aspect of which is these meteors coming through their ceiling, and they realize they're in space. Their whole house is now in space. There are things like ramping up tension where a robot, you think it's a little toy robot, he grows to be giant, he wants to kill one of the brothers, mistaking them for an alien life form. There's one point where they get pulled into the gravity well of a sun. There's a black hole. There are aliens, as I say, who are attracted to fire. And then there's an astronaut they encounter who's just floating around space, portrayed by Dax Shepard, very convincingly, I might add. And it's really cool. There's a twist toward the end of the film with his character pertaining to the relationship of the two brothers. I won't say any more than that, but it's a very affirming ending that this presents once we are, confronted with it. And I didn't see coming, really, this twist. You have Kristen Stewart playing their older sister / babysitter, who's out of the count for most of the movie because she ends up cryogenically frozen for one of the moves in the game. And there's this great sequence where her frozen self comes, plotzing down the steps. She was about to go take a shower, and she, falls down the steps, and they have to carry her back up again. So when she wakes up, she'll be back to normal and all this stuff. There are a lot of comedic little veins like that. And, of course, there's lots of suspense as at some point they lose the game and, have to get it back from these aliens and all that kind of stuff. And the whole purpose of which is to beat the game, finish it through and through, because it'll reset everything once they have. And again, with the spacescape, the aliens, these giant lizard-looking aliens, that might have been a better way to go for the Gorn in Star Trek Enterprise, practical effects rather than CG. Jon Favreau really wraps this story up convincingly and entertainingly through the roof, no pun intended. And I couldn't highly recommend it more, and I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below if you've ever seen it, if you like it. If you haven't, will you check it out? And otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. So I hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.